Hello, best learners. This is Mustafa here at Learn with the Best, and we've got an amazing video for you today. We're going to be looking at Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Law number 6, court attention at all costs. First, I'm going to define the law for you, and then we'll go over a few examples. And then finally, we'll wrap up with how you can wield this law in your own life for attaining maximum power. Here's the law. Everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd or buried in oblivion. Instead, stand out. Be conspicuous at all costs. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious than the bland and timid masses. There are 3 sides to every man. The first is how we portray ourselves to the world. For example, here's Gustavo. He's a world-class surgeon. He became famous after performing a 12-hour-long surgery on a paralyzed thumb caused by a very rare disease. Okay, this is how the world sees him. He's been published in medical journals for performing this long and grueling surgery that has never been done before, and patients from all over the world who have this rare thumb disease want to see Gustavo. He's a popular dude in his community, and his neighbors are ecstatic that he's put their small town on the map. The second side of Gustavo is the one that his family knows. This is a deeper Gustavo, a more intimate Gustavo. His family knows that he failed med school 3 times before finally making it as a doctor. His wife knows what he likes in the sack and that he's battling video game addiction. His parents know that he wet the bed until he was 12 years old. This is the Gustavo that is hidden from the public eye, the intimate Gustavo that only those closest to him know about. Okay, now the third side of Gustavo. This is the side that only he himself knows. No one else knows this side of Gustavo, not even his wife. These are deep things that he will never share with anyone. For example, Gustavo cheated a few times on his exams to get into med school. He could have performed his world-class thumb surgery in 3 hours instead of 12, but he dragged it out for the attention and the publicity that he knew he would attain if he made it appear to be more complicated than it really is. You see, Gustavo understood the fundamental truth about attracting attention. Once people's eyes are on you, you have a special legitimacy, even though in reality, it may not be all that legitimate at all. Okay, now let's look at an example from the book that Robert Greene lays out for us from the past. But before we do that, I need your help with YouTube's algorithm. Please simply engage with this video. Things like smashing the thumbs up button, subscribing, commenting, and sharing the video with your friends on your social networks really do help me out a lot. So I appreciate you, my viewer, for doing whatever you can to help the analytics for this video. Okay, so once upon a time, in the early 1900s, Paris, there were rumors spreading throughout the city about a beautiful young Oriental girl who put on shows dancing seductively for the wealthy. A journalist who had seen one of her performances reported that a woman from the Far East had come to Europe laden with perfume and jewels to introduce some of the richness of the Oriental world and bring life into the satiated society of European cities. Soon, everyone knew the dancer's name as Mata Hari. Small select audiences would gather in a theater filled with Indian statues and other relics while an orchestra played music inspired by Hindu and Javanese melodies. After keeping the audience waiting and wondering, Mata Hari would suddenly appear in a startling costume, a white cotton brassiere covered with Indian types of jewels, bands at the waist supporting a sarong that revealed as much as it concealed. Then Mata Hari would dance in a style that no one in France had seen before, her whole body swaying as if she were in a trance. She told her excited and curious audience that her dances told stories from Indian mythology and Javanese folktales. Soon, the cream of the crop in Paris and ambassadors from faraway lands were competing for invitations to the theater. The public wanted to know more about this Mata Hari, and she told journalists that she was actually Dutch in origin but had grown up on the island of Java. She would also talk about her time spent in India, how she had learned sacred Hindu dances, and how Indian women can shoot straight, ride horseback, and even talk philosophy. Later that year, even though a small percentage of the population had seen Mata Hari's dance performances, her name was on everyone's lips. As Mata Hari gave more interviews, the story of her origins kept changing. She had grown up in India. Her grandmother was the daughter of a Javanese princess. She had lived on an island of Sumatra where she had spent her time horseback riding, gun in hand, and risking her life. No one knew anything for certain about her, nothing concrete, but journalists did not mind the changes in her biography. They compared her to an Indian goddess, or whatever their imaginations wanted to see. Mata Hari finally decided to perform for the first time in public, because up until now all of her performances were for private audiences. So now crowds were lining up to see her on opening night. She had become a cult figure. One reviewer wrote, "Mata Hari personifies all the poetry of India, its mysticism, its voluptuousness, its hypnotizing charm." Another wrote, "If India possesses such unexpected treasures, then all Frenchmen will emigrate to the shores of the Ganges." Soon enough, the fame of Mata Hari and her sacred Indian dances spread beyond Paris. She was invited to Berlin, Vienna, Milan. Over the next few years, she performed throughout all of Europe, mixed with the highest social circles, and she earned an incredible income, giving her great and wonderful independence. Then finally, near the end of World War I, she was arrested in France. She was tried, she was convicted, and she was executed as a German spy. Only during the trial did the truth come out. Mata Hari was not from Java or India. She had not grown up in the Orient. She did not have a drop of Eastern blood in her body. Her real name was Margaretha Zell, and she came from Holland. When Margaretha Zell arrived in Paris, she had half a franc in her pocket. She was one of thousands of beautiful young women who flocked to Paris every year, taking work as artists, models, or dancers. After a few years, these young girls would be replaced by younger girls and would often end up on the streets or returning to the towns that they came from, older and disciplined through life's hardships. Margaretha Zell had higher ambitions. She had no dance experience whatsoever, and she had never performed in the theater. But as a young girl, she had traveled with her family and had witnessed local dances in Java and Sumatra. She clearly understood that what was important in her act was not the dance itself, or even her face or figure. In fact, it was her ability to create an air of mystique. The mystery she created wasn't only in her dancing or costumes or the stories that she would tell, or, her endless lies about her origins. The mystery lay in the atmosphere enveloping everything that she did. This mystery was so intriguing. There was nothing that you could say for sure about this woman. She was always changing, always surprising her audience with new costumes, new dances, new stories. This air of mystery left the public always wanting to know more, having their attention courted, always wondering about her next move. Mata Hari was no more beautiful than many of the other young girls who came to Paris. And she wasn't even a good dancer, but what separated her from the masses, what attracted and held the public's attention, what made her famous and wealthy was again her mystery. People are enthralled by mystery because it invites constant interpretation. The mysterious cannot be grasped, and what cannot be seized and consumed creates seduction and power. Mata Hari courted attention at all costs. This is kind of like what makes Pokemon such an incredibly popular franchise. There are around 1,000 Pokemon across all of its games and anime and iterations. There are some common Pokemon, some rare Pokemon, and some extremely rare Pokemon. The catchphrase of Pokemon is "Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon." It's nearly impossible to catch 'em all, and that's what makes it so seductive. So how do you use this law to your advantage? Well, you want to create an air of mystery around you to keep people guessing as to what you're all about. Me personally, I'm naturally more of a quiet and introverted type, so I'm able to kind of do this naturally. But depending on your situation, you want to craft your strategy to whatever is beneficial for you. This law is the bread and butter for politicians because they need to generate as much attention as they possibly can. They need to always be talked about. They need to always be standing in the public's eye because it grants tremendous power. For the average person though, we want to do the opposite. We want to gain attention by saying as little about ourselves as we can and letting people's imaginations do the work for us. This is what women mean when they say that they want a man who is tall, dark, and handsome. The dark part comes from creating this air of mystery and never revealing too much about oneself. So take heed, dear viewer, and court attention at all costs. If you like my YouTube content and you want more, then please check out my Patreon link pinned in the top comment below. I upload new videos every Friday for my Patreon subscribers that go deeper into the 48 laws of power. These videos are a bit more raw and untamed than my usual videos here on YouTube. And if you're a patron of mine already, then I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it's people like you that truly make all of this even possible in the first place. Lastly, if you're interested in transforming yourself from a lamb to a lion, then check out my course pinned in the top comment below. I hope you enjoyed this animated video on Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, Law number 6, court attention at all costs. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.